Now it's time for a business spotlight. This is the Adelaide Project.
Hello and welcome to the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight, brought to you by podcastcity.com.au. If you're looking for a way to engage your audience with your amazing content, then you need to talk to them about producing, recording, editing, videoing and distributing your very own podcast. Just go to podcastcity.com.au. I'm Ron Fiedler and we're back for a new episode of the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight. How important is it to have mates? To have a good network of people to share good times with, who have similar interests to you, or you can turn to when you need a friend when times are tough. You're probably saying to yourself, it's hard to find good quality mates and have a solid support network. Well, today I'm going to introduce you to an organisation that gives back to the community. Crewmen are an organisation championing the health and well-being of men. They have designed an app, the Crewman app, that can provide camaraderie, social connection, and fulfilment by helping users to create a support network of mates they can rely on. Crewmen provides an opportunity to meet good mates with similar motivations, interests, and circumstances. Most of all, they want to meet, not talk over text or message, but generally want to meet in real time and extend their circle of mates. These mates are aspiring to make a difference, happy to share their lives and their life experiences, and there to enjoy the same activities as you. Along with all this, Crewman has set up a charitable foundation called the Crewmen Fund that provides support to charitable organisations that they feel are aligned with the Crewmen's value system. To find out all about how Crewman and how Crewman app works, please welcome to the podcast and radio show the CEO and founder of Crewman, Guy Thompson. Guy, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Ron. Nice to be here.
It's absolutely a pleasure to have you here. I really enjoy talking to people who want to make a difference in someone's lives, and that's what you're all about. Guy, I've had a look around your website and downloaded the app, and I must say how impressed I am. Can you tell our listeners all about Crewmen and what is the organisation all about?
Yep. Okay, so I guess Crewmen really is there to support men's health and well-being across a whole lot of different areas. It's what I believe is just a great platform and foundation for complete well-being. This idea came about to me several years ago when I was working in a different industry. But what I found is that there are a few things in my life that are reoccurring, which was part of this new app that's been built. And it's all about trying to address those areas, the things that I was going through and also what my friends were going through as well. But in saying that, so we've tried to cover off 4 different areas of well-being, and that's connection, fulfilment, community, and also financial savings. And that's how it's all come about.
Do you find that there's a lot of men out there that just have no idea how to connect with other good mates?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that mainly it's about a lot of it's, there's a few things. Firstly, it's timing. Quite often we all lead very busy lives. We've got relationships, families, careers. We may not live in the same vicinity that's easily accessible. So there could be a whole lot of factors that contributed to it. But I think as you get older, the chances and the opportunities to catch up with mates get fewer and far between. And also I think we evolve as people as well. So our interests and hobbies change, which could have been the same as other people's. And also our needs for friendship changes as our circumstances and situation does as well. So there's lots and lots of reasons I think that, mates don't connect with one another. But basically I don't think it's no fault of anyone's. It's just circumstantial.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, I mean, people move from interstate or overseas. They change jobs or careers these days. And as you said, more than likely our interest and the people we hang out with and our culture changes, and we want to meet people who more align to that. When we are looking at meeting with new friends, and it can be very scary, what advice could you give men out there when they're trying to look for a new group to be a part of with new people that they may not have associated in the past with?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question, because I think a lot of people go through that these days. And I think the fact that we've sort of become less interactive with people in general, not just our mates who we're comfortable with, I think our ability to utilise our social skills has probably declined a little bit, and therefore it makes does make people a bit anxious and a bit perhaps reticent to go out and meet new groups of people and new people. The thing is that you just need to be yourself and keep trying. I mean, that's what it's all about. You've got to put your best foot forward and make an effort. And, if you're making the effort, you are going to meet other people that are going to make an effort as well, and they're going to be on the same page. And if you're around people that don't make the effort, well, it's pretty obvious that they're probably not going to be people that you want to follow up with in the future. But I think these days, people just need to make more of an effort and not worry about feeling embarrassed or feeling anxious, but just literally be themselves and open themselves up to conversations and just see where it goes and just put their best foot forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's it. I think a lot of people are more reserved than ever because of social media, the way that society is changing. But Guy, what I like about your organisation is you've done something to be able to connect quite easily, and that is you have a Crewman app. Can you tell us all about that and what it's used for?
Yeah, sure. So the Crewmen app is really based on a whole lot of experiences that I went through, and also actually my friends went through in the past. I mean, there were several times in my life where I felt quite disconnected, and that was travelling for my career. I moved a couple of times interstate. I had the loss of a very close brother of mine in my earlier years, and then I went through a divorce. Ended up looking after my children, my twins, pretty much on my own 50% of the time. I didn't have a lot of help with that, and I was growing a national business at that time. So there were many times where my timing was just not as my friends were, my mates were.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of times alone on those on nights when I didn't have the children or when my other mates were busy, and I just thought that when you're in that space, it's hard to stay motivated. You feel a bit disconnected. You feel a bit lonely. But if you're enduring those times regularly and for long periods of time, it can really be quite tough to get through. And so I just thought to myself that this, there has to be something better out there. We're all good people. We need to be connected. There's nothing wrong with us, and we all want to be able to catch up and have a really good, fun, fulfilling life. But we need something that's going to be able to connect more to each other, and also to open up, I think, the likelihood of other new connections. Because if we have an existing network of, say, 10 or 15 mates, but most of them are busy all the time with relationships and careers and work and things, and that can limit you to perhaps say 2 or 3, which you might be able to catch up with on a more regular basis. But again, how often is that? Once a month or once every 2 months? That's what it can be like. But I thought that there are lots of blokes out there. There's plenty of opportunities to meet good blokes out that are similar to you and in the same circumstances. And I wanted to create a platform that provided men lots of opportunities to make new mates that are in the same similar situation, circumstance to them, and then have to be left to be a little less reliant on their current friendship groups that they have. And I think that way that they're going to have broaden their network, introduce, hopefully make some great new mates, and also just add to their initial network that they have. So Crewman actually, it does that. It brings mates together over their hobbies and interests essentially.
So with the app now, I've downloaded the app, really easy to download, and you have many different sections in there. So once you fill in all of your details, it then asks you your common interests. And that is so that you can connect with other mates. Yep. And then once you've done that, you've got this shout-outs. How does the shout-outs work?
Yeah, so call-outs.
Call-outs. Sorry, call-outs.
That's our new name for it, which is a bit like a mini event. But so you get on board, and as you register your interests, and the interests are interests of your own, which could be, there could be 6, 10, 12 of those. And then you also register interests for call-outs from other people. So, and that's the interest that you put in through your own and through potential call-outs other people make are going to connect you with the people around you. Yeah. That's how that works. If we're going to be making the effort and putting the time in to actually meet people, it's got to be worthwhile. I mean, these days everyone's quite time poor, and we need to be maximising and be really efficient with our time. And if you're going to go out of your way to try and build new networks of mates, you've got to be efficient about that too. So I thought to myself, if I'm going to be doing this, what's the best situation for me? And I'm fairly demanding of my own situation. I need things to go well because I lead a very busy life too. So I was imagining what's the best scenario that I could come up with. And that was basically, we created, special algorithms in the background. It brings people together that have not just one interest, but they have several. Yep. So that when you do meet, there's actually not just one thing to pursue, either a hobby and interest like tennis. Yeah. But there'll be, at least 2 or 3 other things that you'll be able to talk about afterwards. So the whole idea is that you meet, you enjoy an interest together, and then when you finish that interest, you've still got plenty of things to talk about, whether that's, fishing or surfing or camping or art or anything like that. But you should have 3 or 4 common interests that you can build a foundation on for friendship. And that was part of what was really important to us, and also making sure that these events or these call-outs, as we call them, that you can create, don't have more than 5 people.
Yes.
And I think that was important too, because when you go into large groups, make an effort to go to a party or a business function or drinks at a friend's house to socialise and network. Quite often you can get lost in that large group and not really make genuine connections, because, you've really got to work the room, try and talk to everybody to find people that are on the same page. It can actually be quite hard work. And sometimes you can come away from those times feeling perhaps a bit discouraged if, for instance, you didn't get to talk to everybody in the room, or you came home and there was no one really there that you felt really connected to form another friendship. So we thought we wanted to lessen that group, max it out at 5, so that if you do meet in a group of up to 5, you have a chance to look people in the eye, talk to them, and genuinely have an opportunity to make a real connection and not get lost within another group, within a larger group. We've also made the app quite versatile, so you can use it anywhere in Australia.
Yeah, now that's something when I joined up, it said there the radius. So you can pick a radius of how far basically you want to travel, or how, if you want to stick in your own area, or if you want to go outside your area, because maybe, look, you don't want people to know at the moment what you're doing, in the sense of expanding that group, because maybe work-wise, or, you don't want to upset other friends. It's a great idea.
Yeah, it is really great point that you put on there too. I mean, sometimes you might feel like you might be upsetting friends by going on apps and things like that to do that. But I think everybody really understands that the more people that are out there for people to connect with, the better. And it does put less pressure on existing friendships. I think that's the thing. But you can set multi-locations, so you can create events in different states. It's amazing too, because if you're travelling around, you can actually, and you decide to say go up to Queensland for a week and enjoy the nice weather up there, you can actually make call-outs up there with users that are around there. And what it does, it takes the vicinity of the actual location where you want it, which might be, say, a restaurant, and then you can set the diameter around that to up to 200 kilometres if you're a premium member, to attract anybody within that 200 kilometre radius behind that. But you could actually make that multi-location in anywhere in Australia and plan several events ahead of a travelling trip, which is quite cool.
That is great.
Yeah, and I suppose too, if you're a businessman and you spend a lot of time away from home, and like I used to when I was younger, travelling around the country and spending a lot of time interstate, you can actually make call-outs ahead of time and organise, a hit of golf, or on your time off, or going to have a social beer, or something like that. So it's actually great. You can actually really start to plan ahead and have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I like that idea. I know a lot of guys that play golf, and they say one of the worst things happens is they go interstate, they got a bit of time and they want to play golf. They've got to play on their own, or maybe go to the club and hopefully find someone. This basically can be a way of organising that well in advance, and it's a great idea. And the other thing I love about it is short notice. So therefore, something may come up. It might be that you've got, somehow you've got 3 or 4 days off work. You can connect with someone and do something. So the thought behind it, guys, just absolutely fantastic. How difficult was it to put all this together? I mean, doing an app, it's not a 2-second job. No. A lot of planning's gone into this.
Yeah, there certainly has. I think the initial thoughts for this app started to develop in my mind probably about 4 years ago. When I started brainstorming and thinking of it. It was an app. I felt an app was probably the best thing to do, because it was it was efficient, it was easy, it was private, and you could do it from your own home. Create call-outs and create events. So it developed from 4 years ago. It's just some ideas that were putting together. And I think over those few years, this sort of idea and this kind of dream evolved into something which I thought was just absolutely necessary. In the end, it wasn't more of a dream about, how much life could be. It was more like, this is really important. And it's not just important for me, but it's important for several people out there, because, life is short. And, we need to make the most of our time here. And I think what we need to do is have a lot of positive connections and have a lot of opportunities to enjoy, our time here. So, it was developing over a number of years. And then last year I took a complete year off.
Wow.
my other role and sold my business to basically focus on what my passion was, and that was helping men to create a platform for well-being.
Yeah.
And it's just as much for me as the several hundred thousands of men out there statistically who it's proven that they would benefit from something like this too. So I felt like it was really needed. So I took a full year off last year after selling the business to make sure that I could put in the time and energy that this required. I don't really do things in halves. Once I've made up my mind to do things, I'm completely focused. I want to see it through and make it the best thing that I can. And I felt like I needed to do that as a full-time job without anything else to make sure that this turned into exactly what I think it needed to be.
I congratulate you, to follow your passion and do that, put everything at risk to follow. And you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for a lot of other people, and this is going to benefit them. So congratulations on that, Guy.
Thank you.
That's just has to be applauded, because a lot of people think this, but they don't go through with it. And as you said, you don't do things in halves. You actually go ahead, full hammer and tongs, and get it done. So that is so well. Now, let's have a look at the app. The app is free. There is a free version, but you also have a premium membership. What are the benefits if you upgrade? And just tell us a bit more about, the differences between the free and the premium membership.
Yeah, absolutely. So the concept and the platform behind premium sort of ties into the different versions. So to access, its full potential, you would become a premium member. But we also wanted to make sure that people out there could have a taste for what this could do. So there's what we call the basic version, which is the free version, where you can actually create a call out or be part of somebody else's call out, and you can do one of those each month.
Great.
That allows you to do that. So you can get a bit of a taste for how it's used, create your own event and go to somebody else's. And then if you feel like it's working for you, you can then upgrade and to premium. And then at that point, and I'll go into a few of the other benefits, but you can have you can create an unlimited amount of call outs and also go to an unlimited amount of call outs that other members make.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And with the app there's the call outs as we talked about. The other benefits, so you've got some discounts that you can have as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is when you become a premium version, you unlock a whole lot more to it. We've got discount retail partners on board that are providing discounts. We've tried to do some research on what we think are some of the most commonly utilised products and services by men in Australia, and then tried to match that with national brand companies. We've got several on board at the moment, but for instance, 99 Bikes and Ultra Tune and the Aussie Man, and they're all providing fantastic products and services, and you can get discounts from them in store or online too. So you can unlock discounts and save money, and that's the wellbeing part of the wellbeing and financial savings kicks in by we're hoping to help people save money. You can actually verify your account and have only verified account members attend your call outs too, in case you're concerned about any sorts of risks there. So we've allowed the app to be very secure like that. You can have, with the premium, you can do multi-location settings, so you can actually create events. If you're potentially travelling around Australia on a holiday, you can create events in Melbourne, Northern Territory and Perth all at the same time, and just create a fantastic trip for yourself. Or if you're a travelling businessman, again, you can create events around Australia at different months and different times of the year, way ahead of what you're doing, and be really well planned ahead. So it's just really to make the opportunity for preparing a great year ahead available at your fingertips. You can also duplicate your own call outs, which is another sort of small time-saving feature. You can attend our Crewmen events too, which are the social events. So throughout the year, we're going to be holding events in each state. And that's more so just to get people together who are on the app who just want to, meet some more people in a nice social function, which isn't really a call out. It's just more about meeting the other members and the founders and other people that have made it. We're also going to be bringing in some guest speakers too to have a bit of a chat, and also some representatives of our partners too to talk about what they're doing as well. So just a fun time, and then hopefully we'll have a large national get together too as well. So you can attend those events, and also probably lastly, one of the most important features which Crewmen has is volunteering events, and that really
I'd like to know more about that. Yeah.
So the volunteering events is what we see fulfills the connection to the community, and also the fulfilment that you can receive. So when you become a premium member, that unlocks all the volunteering opportunities as well. The volunteering component was a really important component. I'm not sure about, the other listeners out there, but I hadn't been much of a volunteer up until a few years ago. And it wasn't because I didn't want to and I didn't care about a lot of other things. It's just that I struggled for time, but I also struggled to figure out who I wanted to do that with and how that would work out. A few years ago, I just threw myself into the deep end and started doing some volunteering. And I found that it actually created this amazing feeling of fulfillment, which I just hadn't really experienced before. I mean, to volunteer your time, to give back, to make a difference, to meet new people in those networks is a really motivating and fulfilling feeling that you then take back to your, relationships, your families and your friends, and you inspire other people and you help the community. So I think that's a really important part of well-being. I mean, people can be sitting there in their life like I was and feeling, at some points obviously I was disconnected, and other times I was having, a fantastic time and not feeling disconnected. But during those times that I was having a great time, I would also sit there and think to myself, financially I'm pretty sound, my children are going really well, I've got a nice relationship happening, I've got a beautiful home to live in, but there's something that's just still seems missing. I can't figure out what it is. And what I figured out is actually fulfillment. You can have all these areas in your life going really well, but there's also a part there where you can get a lot of satisfaction from volunteering and what that brings back to your life and others around you. And when I did that, it sort of completed the picture for me. Yeah. I wanted to provide people with as many opportunities to volunteer as possible in a lot of different sectors, so that they could see or gravitate towards a sector that they felt was, more aligned with them, and have lots of choices throughout the year to go to those events, and just try and encourage the members to do a little bit of volunteering here and there if they can, help the community, but also just get a taste of what I had, and was that sense of fulfillment. If you haven't had it before, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Look, that's what I was saying before. Crewman gives back to the community, and more businesses done this, we wouldn't have some of the problems we have today in the shortages of staff for volunteering. I know that some places call out for volunteers all the time. They just can't get enough. And it's not because people don't want to volunteer. It's that, as you said, time poor. But the other reason is, I believe, that not many people know where to go to find a place to volunteer. Yeah. And I've noticed on the app there that you do have partners there that call out for volunteers. Yeah. And you can have a look at them, decide which one suits you. And that's the thing, it's all right to say, well, I'll go and volunteer with X, Y, and Z, but if you don't know if they exist, that's the trouble.
That's right. And they might have limited options too. So if you were going to do it with X, Y, Z, they might say, well, we need a volunteer, once a month on this day at that time. Yeah. If that doesn't suit you because you have children or you have other things going on, you miss out. So, and I think that is probably what happens with a lot of people too. That the timing, not just about mates or connecting with mates, it's the same with volunteering. You give your time up to connect with new mates, you give your time up to volunteer. It's got to be something that's suitable for you. It's just not going to work. So Crewmen creates that tons of opportunities to make it work for you and fit into your lifestyle. Yes. And so we're trying to bring as many opportunities in that you can choose from interstate, not only who you're doing it for, but when it is, so there's more of a likelihood that it's going to fit in with your lifestyle rather than the other way around. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's got to fit in with what you're doing, because as I keep saying, you can't give the shirt off your back if you don't have one. And that's the thing. If you've still got to live, you've still got to put food on the table, you've still got to educate the children. Absolutely. But you do want to help volunteer somewhere along the line. This gives you an opportunity to find the right person or the right organisation at the right time. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So that is so good, Guy, and congratulations on doing that as well, because we need more people in the community, helping the community. We definitely do. Yep. Guy, you have a resources page. Yep. What can we discover on there? Because it's great meeting with mates and all, but sometimes we might not be able to. But you've got this resources page where it gives advice to people to help them when they need it. Yeah, so I think, a lot of us have a little downtime, and, that downtime is generally when, either we're feeling like we need a rest, or we don't have people to catch up with, or we're sort of, in between, tasks or things like that. So what do you do during those moments, and how do you fill in that time? And for me, I just thought something would be nice and useful is to have some really nice articles, very positive articles that were interesting and very readable for people to pick up and look at and hopefully get inspired from and learn something, in between the various moments in their life. I imagine reading these when I'm stuck at the airport.
Yeah.
Waiting to board a flight that's just been delayed, or I'm sitting in a taxi driving somewhere, or, waiting in a doctor's, and the doctor's waiting to be seen. And this is when you can click on the app. We've got 9 sections which cover the environment, fitness, giving, humour, parenting, relationships, socialising, success and wellness. And all of those different resource sectors have a bunch of really amazing articles in there that I felt were really relevant. We've tapped into a lot of the companies and organisations that specialise in this area. We've done through what we've found, what we believe are probably the most interesting and beneficial articles that we've seen, and then threaded them through to the app. So, we've read them. We've experienced them, we like them, and we've loaded them up because we think that there's a lot of value there.
Yes.
So if you do open it up and read one, I'm sure that you'll find it worthwhile, and that's what it needed to be worthwhile, and we think they're all very worthwhile reading.
That's good. I'm glad you thought that out, because it's easy just to slap anything together. But, if it's something that's going to benefit someone at the end, it's only going to make theirs and everyone else's life around them much better. So so that's a good thing in the resource section of your website and
it is.
And also the app?
Just on both, on the app and the website.
So at least if you're out and about, you've got it always with you. You don't have to go anywhere special.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Guy, Crewman has a charity foundation called the Crewmen Fund. Why was it started, and how does this help the community? Yeah,
so the Crewmen Fund was also about giving back, having that sense of fulfilment of being part of the community and helping the community. We also realise that comes in to play a lot of raising of funds to help these organisations achieve what they want to do. So it's not just, physically helping them in some capacity, whether it's an administrative or a lifting and carrying sort of way. It's also raising funds that they can then appropriate properly for them to continue the growth and the vision that they have. So I thought that it would be a great idea to give them a hand. And, I have a few ideas of my health. I have a few ideas of my own in respect to what I'd like to also Crewmen to achieve, and that's in particular on the environment and climate change.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the fact that we need to really help our environment and try to, in some form or another, try to slow down the effects of climate change and also help our animals on this earth. So the Crewmen Fund will be receiving 5% of all subscription fees that will go automatically into the fund.
Yep.
We'll be utilising those funds to help existing charitable organisations around Australia to achieve their goals.
Yes.
And we'll also be utilising those funds to help the climate change and the environment.
That's great. And when you look at this whole Crewman organisation, it's all putting it together. Everything complements everything else. So whether it be you meeting mates, volunteering, helping out, environment, it's everything we're doing every day and putting it all together, and that's just fantastic. So we've got a lot there to look at. There's a lot we can learn from the Crewman organisation, and it's from meeting mates, as we said, volunteering, we're helping the community, we've got resource pages. How do we get this? This is the big thing, Guy. Where do we go?
Yep. Absolutely, yes. It's available, but you can download it from the Apple Store and Google Play. If you want to look at a little bit more information, just head to our website at www.crewmen.co. You'll see everything there that we've been speaking about. And I'll just say, look, if you're one of those blokes out there, I mean, you can be in any situation, but if you have some spare time or you're finding it a little bit difficult to try and pin other mates down, we're not forgetting our existing mates. We're keeping them there. We're very thankful for them, but jump on and have a go and start some new connections and really start to enjoy your life more and have more opportunities and build on those friendship networks. But just have a go and experience it, and we hope that you can have a really positive change to your life.
I think it's going to be great. And Guy, if there are businesses out there that like what they see with you and they would like to partner, how can they contact you? What should they do? Yeah,
absolutely. So we're always reviewing and looking at new partners that we think are aligned to our vision, and most of all, our members are going to appreciate and be able to experience. That's what it's really about for the members. But if you would like to talk to us about what we're doing, we'd love to hear from you, and you can find all of my details on the website, which includes my phone number and also my email address, so you can get in touch with me there, and I'd love to talk to you.
And we're going to have all those contact details, information, links to the apps on our social media pages. And of course, just check the show notes in the podcast as well. Guy, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us about Crewman and the Crewman app. And thank you so much for joining us on the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. It's been great to discuss Crewman, and hopefully we'll see more people in the future. Thank you.
Today on the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight podcast and radio show, we've been speaking with Guy Thompson from Crewman, an organisation that is connecting mates in real time with similar interests so that they can get out and enjoy life and connect with someone outside their family. This podcast is brought to you by Podcast City. If you'd like to know more information about starting your own podcast, from planning your podcast to recording, editing, filming and distributing your very own podcast to the world, just go to podcastcity.com.au. I'm Ron Fiedler for the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight. Until we meet again, bye for now.